Hola, amigos. Bienvenido a la last show, Kansas City. Hey, this is LA3. This is the last show, Kansas City. Tonight, our guest is one of my best friends in comedy. I've been friends with him for years. He has done it all in show business. He's an Emmy winner. He is also opened up for the likes of Weird Al Yankovic, Jimmy Walker, Louis Anderson, and if that's not busy enough, he's host of the nationally syndicated Barbecue Radio Network, which is on 65 stations all over these United States. And if that isn't enough job, he's also the morning disc jockey on 97.7 The Dog out of, what part of Kansas?
Burlington, Kansas.
Burlington, Kansas. Our guest tonight...
Hold on. I'm also a licensed real estate agent in Kansas and Missouri. I do residential leasing. Call me if you need a place.
All right. That is Dave Caius. We're going to watch a clip from Dave Caius. We'll be right back.
Exciting things happen here in Kansas City. We got the Sprint Center, the Power and Light District. CBS is going to do a TV show based on Kansas City. It's going to be a drama. Have you heard about it? CSI Olathe. All the people from Olathe are going, I don't get it. And your name, sir?
Mark.
Mark, what do you do?
I started my own business this May.
Wow, so he's unemployed. We're going to have a little benefit for him next week, if you don't mind. Come on back, they'll just be the pirates, and that's it, okay? Hi, Robin, and what do you do, Robin?
I'm a cosmetologist.
Cosmetologist? Face stuff. What? Oh, hair. Oh. Well, that'll be a waste of my time.
Hey, welcome back. Hey, Guillermo, we've got my friend Dave Caius on. He kind of interrupted my little intro. I always throw it to you before I throw it to Dave, but apology accepted. David, thank you for being on the show, buddy.
Oh, thank you, Elliot.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, before Elliot starts, this is the camera?
That's the camera.
So before Elliot starts, Elliot is a very good friend of mine.
Yes.
We've been good friends for many years. One of
Many
my
years.
best friends.
Yes.
I have traveled more miles in a car with Elliot 3 than any other human being in my life.
Oh, my
okay?
gosh.
My family, anybody, okay? So let me tell you about Elliot. Very nice man, okay? Helpful, does things for people.
You're
in the community.
hijacking my interview.
Of course I am. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. Elliot is the biggest liar I've ever met in my life, okay? He constantly lies. He will lie when telling the truth is better, okay? So let me give you a perfect example.
Okay,
Elliot
let's hear
it. We talk about it every day on the phone. don't we?
Okay.
Sometimes more than once.
Okay.
Elliot's not a long talker.
No.
I appreciate that.
No.
1, 3, 5 minutes, he's done, okay? So how he gets off the phone is he has to always end it with a lie. He doesn't say, hey, I got to go. I'll call you later. I'll talk to you later. No, he says, I'm going to the grocery store, or my sister's calling, or the pizza delivery's here, okay? He could be at the gym. The pizza delivery's here, okay? So,
I like that gym. I could be at the gym. I like that. I could be at the gym.
Scratch the gym part. Edit that. So anyway, so he always is telling me, I'm going to the grocery store. I'll call you later. 2 things you should know. Number 1, there's no grocery store. Number 2, he's not calling me back later. So, one time we were driving to Colorado Springs to do shows together. Remember this trip?
I remember this trip.
So, to get to Colorado Springs, you got to I-70 where there's nothing, and then you branch off south to go to Colorado Springs where there's even less. So, we're in the middle of nowhere.
I don't remember this story.
Nowhere.
Okay.
So, Elliot gets a phone call, a
Oh.
business call, because Elliot's a big-time businessman, okay? So, he gets a business call, right? And he's talking to this guy, and hear him talking, millions of dollars or whatever. And after about 3 minutes, Elliot tells the guy, hey, listen, I'm going in the grocery store. I'll call you later.
Listen.
Hang on. I'm driving the car, and I hear this lie. We're in the middle of nowhere. And I turn to him, I go, Elliot, this is the lie you tell me all the time. Now, whenever a guy gets caught in a lie, ladies, you know this one. Whenever a man's caught in a lie, what do they always say? They go, what? And that's exactly, he went, what? I said, that's the lie you tell me.
My gosh. Well, I did eventually go to a grocery store.
Oh, come on. We were
But
300 miles
we
from the
had,
grocery
this
store.
isn't about me and my foibles. This is
Hold
about
on,
you.
I got more.
No.
So Elliot is always complaining about trying to lose weight. Now we're both heavy guys. It's hard to tell. He's got a jacket on. He's wearing his
got the desk.
He's got his gym shorts on underneath the desk here. I've got a sport coat on. So we don't look as heavy as we are, but we're both heavy, right? So he's always telling me, I don't understand. I ride the bike every day. I swim every day. I walk and he does. He does these things. You do these things. I can't understand why I'm losing. Hang on. Yeah, I'll take 2 Big Macs, 4 fries, and a Diet Coke.
A Diet Coke.
So then he comes back realizing I heard his order, and he always, oh, well, it's not just for me.
No. It's not just for me.
Okay, I got more.
No, hold on. Let's get to my part in a second.
So we're doing a show. Okay. We're doing a show at like the Elks Lodge or something, right? And Elliot, he's going up first. He's having a great set. Elliot's a very funny comedian. Very funny comedian. He's up there. But he's getting more laughs than kind of he should be.
Really? That's rare.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting in the audience. I'm going up next, and I hear everybody. Elliot, unfortunately, had left his zipper down. Okay, so you remember this?
Yes, I remember. A couple of those servers tripped that day.
So I had to go up on stage and go, Elliot, and here it is. I don't know how he turned red, but this face turned bright red.
I remember that.
Turned around, did it, but everybody loved you.
There you go.
We've all done it.
Well, you started stand-up comedy. Where did you start at? Comedy sports.
Well, I started improv comedy. Actually, I attended the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Very famous, or Paul Rudd went.
Paul Rudd went out in Pasadena, and I joined a little improv comedy troupe called the Wild Side Theater in North Hollywood. And it was a small little troupe. Some months we got paid, and some months we had to pay them
I
to
know
keep
how that
the doors
works.
open.
Yeah.
So I started doing improv, and then I happened to be back in town and saw an audition for Comedy Sports in Kansas City. So I went to the audition. Well, I went to the show the night before, and I really liked the show. I thought, this is better than what we're doing in California with supposed real actors. So I auditioned, and I decided if I get cast, I'll move back to Kansas City. I got cast, so I did improv
By
comedy.
Clancy Hathaway,
By
right?
Clancy Hathaway for about 10 years. We were in various locations. But I always wanted to do stand-up. I mean,
And this comedy troupe was with the now famous Ted Lasso, right?
Well, yes.
Jason Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis was in there. I have been, this is my brush with greatness, not him. I have been in Jason Sudeikis' mother's basement back before he was famous.
Does this have anything to do with Jason, or just
Yes,
something
I was in
you-
Jason Sudeikis'
Okay,
basement
I didn't know. I mean,
with Jason.
I didn't know.
And he lent me a movie on VHS, and somewhere I forgot to give it back, and I still have a movie that Jason.
Do you remember the
Sudeikis-
movie?
I have no idea, and I don't even know which one it is. But I message him every once in a while on Facebook and saying I'll give it back, and he doesn't return my messages.
Well, maybe you should never see it, because maybe he'll go back to being in like Somewhere in Time with Christopher Walken when he finds the old totem. He goes back. All right, all right. I did not know you through any part of that. I knew you from stand-up comedy.
Yeah. So after about 10 years of improv, I also did theater. I did Martin City Melodrama and a bunch of different theaters, dinner theater, but I always wanted to do stand-up. You know, you started young. I didn't start
18.
I didn't start stand-up until I was older, past 30, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. But I started to go down.
So that's why I'm funnier. I'm like 12 years ahead of you in comedy. That's why I'm funnier.
Isn't he cute? That's funny. You want more lies? You want some more Elliot 3 lies?
No.
I've got more
All
of
right,
them.
let's finish up there.
So anyway, I decided that starting at the beginning of the year, I'm going to go down to open mic. Okay, open mic is
At
where
Stanford and Sons.
At Stanford and Sons
On
Comedy
Westport?
Club. This is when it was Westport at the old. It's now the Westport or World Market or something.
World Market.
So I would go down there every Monday night and have my 3 minutes, all right? And I'd be all nervous, have my little Pepsi, and I'd go up on stage. I'd eat a half a thing of Tums before I'd go on stage, every time I did my 3 minutes. I was so nervous. But I gave myself permission to bomb, okay? You should know that feeling. Anyway, so I gave myself permission to bomb, and I didn't bomb. So I did that first year, and then about, I don't know, halfway through, Brian Burgess, you remember a comedian named Brian Burgess? He was managing the club. Brian was a sarcastic kind of, everything, if Brian said, hey, how you doing, you'd think, what did he mean by that? But one day I'm sitting there in the back row with all the other little, nobody comedians, and Burgess walked by, and he just went, hey, Caius! And I had no idea he even knew who I was. So I worked up and started doing MC work, which I get to do for you again, by the way.
When you did stand up there at the Stanford store, I had a door. They had all their famous comedians who have come out of there. Carrot Top, not that I should mention Carrot Top, but I had a door with my name and a big star on it. So maybe that was looking over you. Maybe it was ordained that.
And it's funny too because it only had one T in his name.
Oh, that's right, it did. It spelled it wrong.
It spelled it wrong.
So you started doing stand up then?
I started doing stand up, and I started getting gigs, and I started traveling. That's how I met you. Is you and I were booked for a gig up in Nebraska?
Atlantic, Iowa.
Iowa.
Valentine's Day.
And they put us at a bed and breakfast that was
God.
not finished yet, and there were no doors. There were no locks on the doors.
It was a swingers bed and breakfast, folks. Swingers.
And I remember we went.
That's right. They were slinging eggs and sausage around there. It wasn't at breakfast time. Oh God.
And we had it was Valentine's. We were doing a Valentine's show. And you and your lovely wife, Catherine, and me and my ex-girlfriend, who will be nameless, and we went down there to have dinner, and they were so understaffed that we had to finally leave. I don't even think did we even eat dinner?
Never.
Because we had to go do the show.
Never.
And it was a bunch of drunk Iowans, and we did our little show, and then we actually drove back that night.
I remember that. But we've done something else special, actually. We did something else special.
I don't even want to know what it is.
We're going to lead into this. We're going to play a clip of something we did special.
Oh!
That's right. No, we're going to tag it. We're going to lead in. We'll be right back after this.
In here, about taste or what color wine goes with what meat, carbs. Forget about it. What we are going to do is put out a quality product and have fun doing it. Because when we do, they keep coming back for more. So, you in the funny hat, rosin up those bags and let's play ball. Because when you break it down, it's the delivery that's got to be perfect.
Who were those young people?
Well, okay. In my introduction, and I assume now you're Grammy nominated. You have a Grammy nominated comedy
I didn't
album.
win anything.
No, but being nominated, that's huge. As much as I love insulting you,
sure it is.
That's huge.
Okay.
But Ellie and I, that commercial you just saw, we won an Emmy for it, a regional Emmy, but we won an Emmy for it. Now, I called Elliot before we were doing this show, and I said, hey, bring the Emmy with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now first of all, I think if I remember right, Time Warner put it on, back when Time Warner was a thing.
I remember that Chris Hoovey was the director of that, actually.
And John somebody was the producer. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah, I forgot who.
I forgot John's last name. So
they're all nice people.
They're very nice people.
Yeah.
So they paid us each $100 to do the commercial.
You remember how much we got paid?
Yes. Here's the thing. We win the Emmy.
Uh-huh.
Okay, regional Emmy. So we win the Emmy, and we're like, oh, this is great. And they said, if you want, you can buy the actual Emmy for $150.
Is that what it said?
So if you bought the Emmy, you net lost $50 doing the commercial. Now, Mr. Three-Car Garage here, look at this.
I didn't buy that Emmy, David.
He bought the Emmy. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You paid $150 for it. What, they just gave it to you? No, they did not. He buys the Emmy. Okay. So I said to Elliot, we're about to be on television. By the way, if they noticed I wanted to lead this up and you interrupted, is at the very end when the bell goes ding, I have a perfect moment.
What's the perfect moment?
It's when I'm standing there and the little clock goes ding and I go, my little nerd outfit. Okay, that was a perfect
Do you remember?
moment.
Do you know where we taped that at?
At Kauffman Stadium.
Kauffman Stadium.
Yeah.
That's
now,
true.
Elliot, I call Elliot. I said, hey, bring the Emmy and we'll put it on the desk. Look at that. We got an Emmy together. And he's like, oh, it's in one of my other houses or condos. He doesn't even know which one. He has so many, right? I think he's got a lake house up in Minnesota. There's 5,000
Oh, gosh.
lakes. He just picked a lake, put a house there.
Gosh.
He's not sure where the Emmy is.
I'm broke.
So I brought the Emmy with this.
There we go.
There we go. U.S.
Should I do the? There we go.
Yes. U.S. toy, 75 cents. There's our Emmy. Okay, so congratulations to us.
I was gonna do my Isaac on the Love Boat.
So.
Is that the? But you've done a lot of commercials, though, right?
I've not done a lot, but I've done a fair share. I have face for radio, so I do mostly radio.
Well, let's talk about that. We've talked about the stand-up comedy. Let's talk about you being on 97.7 The Dog.
I am on The Dog. Now, to back up, because this has to do with you. Yes.
Why does it got to do
I
with
told
me?
you, Elliot's a very nice, generous man.
gosh.
He's a liar,
right.
but he's a very nice, generous man. So, years ago, a man by the name of Phil McComb booked Elliot and I to do a stand-up comedy show down in Chanute, Kansas, which I don't even remember doing the show, to be honest with you.
I do.
Okay.
For
You don't remember paying $150
it was
for your
for
Emmy.
the pool. Yeah, okay.
So we go down there, we do a show, it goes well, I guess. So a few years later, Phil calls us again to do a show in Emporia, Kansas. Now what most people will not know, disc golf, big thing. Oh, do not bring up disc golf. I will run you off the set.
I won't.
So anyway, there's a disc golf tournament in Emporia, Kansas. Emporia, Kansas is where disc golf was founded. Nobody hardly knows that.
I did not know that.
I didn't either. They have a beautiful restored theater down there. And Elliot and I went down there, did a show. It went great. Well, one of us did good. And so then I get on a Barbecue Radio Network show, which is, we're trying to expand. I call Phil McComb. Well, Elliot suggests we'll call Phil. He's got like 10 radio stations. I call Phil, and he put us on 10 of his radio stations.
Just like that.
Barbecue Radio Network. Look it up. You can listen to it in podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We talk barbecue.
www. Let's give the whole thing.
If you want to do the website, yeah, it's barbecueradionetwork.com. But if you
We'll
just
put it
want-
on the bottom here, hopefully.
right there. It's right next to the Emmy that Elliot brought with him. So anyway, so I started doing the barbecue show, Barbecue Radio Network, on Phil's 10 stations, and he listens to it. And he called me one day. And he goes, "I like your banter. You know, like us, banter." So he wanted to do a morning show in Burlington, Kansas. Which, by the way, Elliot, I've had 2 guests that have been on more than once, and Elliot is one of them. And Elliot is a superior guest.
Oh,
Okay,
that's sweet.
I actually let him talk, unlike this show.
Okay. Well, like I said, so that's how you got The Dog, right?
The dog.
Now that's played in Burlington, Kansas.
Yes, but there's a free app, 97.7 The Dog, DAWG, and you can listen to it. And at some point, Elliot will be back for a third time because you were very good, you were very funny. You
Well,
were
actually,
excellent
David
guest.
Scott, we had another guest.
David Scott's been on. He's the GOAT. He's been on like 5 times. He's been on almost as many Tom Brady Super Bowl wins.
So, and then so basically the thing about the show is that he has a lot of comedians. So it is a very amusing show because he banters with comics, comic banters,
And actors.
actors, improv artists, and just other folks that are generally pretty interesting.
I had Cindy from Wendy's on. She was very good. Learned about making fries.
Cindy from Wendy's.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
This is why I want to play poker with
Okay,
him, because
gotcha.
he just falls into stuff.
All right.
He believes anything you say.
All right, so tell me about, all right, so that is, but then let's talk about the barbecue station, because just as you know that every guest gets a can of this sauce goes homeless veterans.
Now here's the generosity of Elliot. Is he had them as a sponsor on our show in November, which by the way, November is Veterans Month, and we
That's true.
love our veterans. And so he had them on as a sponsor, and I got to try the sauce, and they've got
They got several flavors.
They've got the regular, and the one with the heat, it is fantastic.
You're going to get one of those
And you can get that at, I believe, Ace Hardware.
The Ace True Value Hardware, and you can get it from there, and you can get it by being a guest on the show.
Well, yes, you can. Yeah, so be a guest on the show, and you get a free bottle
So
of
much easier
barbecue
than
sauce.
driving to Ace Hardware. You got to believe it. So, Dave, you're born and raised here, Shawnee
Yes.
Mission East,
Yes.
stand-up comedy. We might as well just tag everything, and you're also a realtor on top of everything.
I do real estate leasing because if I was an actual realtor, I would make a lot of money, but that doesn't make sense for me.
Not in it for you. That's
No,
not in
because
the
I don't want a
cards.
3-car garage.
That's not in the
I want a
cards.
house that's falling apart. But I do leasing, and the reason I do leasing is it gives me the freedom to do TV, radio, stand-up comedy, and all that.
And all that being...
Barbecue Radio Network and 97.7 The Dog and
stand-up comedy,
stand-up comedy.
singing telegrams.
Oh, singing telegrams.
The
I
guy
do
does-
singing telegrams.
Yeah. The guy
Look me-
does everything.
Look me up at davidstandup.com.
And that, you can get everything. David
Davidstandup.com.
Stand Up.
When you watch this show, have paper and pen ready to note all these things, okay?
davidstandup.com.
Correct.
All right. So, tell me about, before we wrap up, tell me about your experiences working with the three comedians we mentioned. First, experience working with Weird Al Yankovic.
Weird Al was an interesting experience. It was at the Topeka Performing Arts Center, which is a big theater in Topeka, very nice theater. And I've never been more nervous for a show than that one in my life. Anymore, do you ever get nervous? Well, you got a little nervous.
I get nervous all the time when I perform now. I'm so rusty.
Well, because we haven't performed as much because of COVID. But that show, I was as nervous as could be. And, you know, it's 1,500 people. It's a theater. The stage manager says, don't do anything dirty. Don't do any of this. Come off exactly 20 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And so I get on stage, and I realize I forgot to start my stopwatch. So I don't know how long I've been on stage. So about 7 minutes into it, I start my stopwatch. Now I'm up there, and a friend asked me, why do you keep looking at your watch? I said, because I was doing math. Because I could not go a second longer than 20 minutes.
Not good to do in your comedy.
No, because math, we're not math people. But
Okay.
But that show went fantastic. That was a little bump in my career that was very nice.
Okay. Working with Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker, so I picked him up at the airport, and we spent a couple of days together. We did a couple of different towns. One of them was St. Joe. And back then, Jimmy had a talk show
In Omaha.
which may have been on KFAB, which is your buddy and now
Scott
mine,
Voorhees.
Scott Voorhees. And he was very political, I'll just say that. And so he would ask me a political question, and I don't like to talk politics. And he would ask me a political question, and I'd start to respond to whatever I thought. He'd go, no, 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 and then he'd go on a 20-minute little dissertation. And so finally he would ask me a question, and I'd go, what do you think, Jimmy? And then he would go on his 20-minute, but he was nice, but it's just, I'm not a political kind of guy.
All right. The trifecta, Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson. So I performed with Louis at Stanford's Comedy Club when it was at the Legends in Wyandotte County. You performed with Louis a bunch of times, haven't you?
We starred together.
Yeah, so
But that's
you
a
know
long
him
time
way
ago.
better. But Louis, he was very nice. I gained about 7 pounds that weekend because Louis just kept ordering everything off the menu, and he'd be like, Dave, eat something. Dave, have something to eat. And I would. It's
That's a
Louis.
good
If
Louis
Louis
voice.
Anderson tells you to eat, you eat.
That's actually Louis Anderson doing Louis Anderson's mom. That voice you did there. Well, that's good. That is good. I mean, you've got a great comedy career. It's an honor to be with you. Anything else you want to plug before we?
Oh gosh, I don't think there's anything left in the world for me to plug.
I think we've got everything.
Be nice to animals.
Be nice to animals.
Spade and neuter.
Spade neuter. That's the Bob Barker line.
That's all right.
Thank you, Dave Caius.
LA3.
You've been watching the last show on Televida. We'll see you next time.